Hello everyone, my name is Richard Santoro and I welcome you to Third and Zen, the YouTube channel where every week we are sharing a spiritual message to nourish ourselves, heart, mind, body, and soul. Okay, so if you've been to the channel before, you'll notice that the surroundings are a little different. I'm in the process of moving, so the setting, all of it's going to be a little different. So thank you for your understanding. Also, thank you for stopping by the channel. I do appreciate you checking things out, whether you're a frequent visitor or whether you're someone that's just popping in for a moment. Thank you. I hope this video finds you doing well. If you feel like taking a moment, liking the video, subscribing, that would be very much appreciated. Either way, thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you. Okay, before we start talking about what you see here and today's message and all that, let's take a nice deep breath. Take a moment, just take a deep breath. We're only going to do a few today and then we're going to get right into it. Just still ourselves for a second. Okay, let's get started with today's message, shall we? Before we get to this, let's talk about this. I'm going to show you something. Okay, you see this sweater right here? You see that? This sweater was a sweater that I bought this past holiday season for a family function as my ugly sweater for Christmas party. Now, ended up not wearing it because we ended up not having the big gathering that we planned on having because of COVID and all that. But that was going to be my ugly sweater. We weren't going to do all the fancy ones you see now with pop culture things, which is fine if that's what you like. But we said, no, let's do our best to actually get sweaters that aren't nice. So I got that sweater. Now, here's the secret that I'm going to let you know. I actually really like this sweater. That's why I bought it. I knew people probably wouldn't like it, but I liked it. So I sent a picture of the sweater to a few people, and they were immediately like, that's an ugly sweater. And down deep, I was like, I like the sweater, and I wanted to wear it on a regular basis. And that leads me to today's message. Grace. Offering grace. Now, I'm being slightly facetious when I make mention to a sweater that I like, that other people think is ugly, and therefore inferring that they are offering that sweater no grace. Just having some fun with that. Let's actually turn our attention to this. For those of you who might not be aware, art is a huge part of my life. And Caravaggio, this is Caravaggio's The Calling of St. Matthew. And this might be my favorite painting in the world. That's why I have it. Not the original, but it's a beautiful painting. And let's just talk about this for a brief moment, and then we'll talk about grace. Grace, that's what I want to talk about. But Caravaggio's The Calling of St. Matthew. The Calling of St. Matthew is found in Matthew's Gospel, it's found in Luke's Gospel, and it's found in Mark's Gospel. And Matthew was a tax collector. Now, for our modern day listener, that might be no big deal. You're the IRS, not popular, but all right, it's a living. In Matthew's day, a tax collector was an enemy of the Jewish people because the Roman occupiers, the Roman Empire, occupied Israel, occupied Jerusalem, and they wanted to collect taxes. That's a big no-no. First of all, nobody wants to be an occupied people. And second of all, for the Jewish people, collecting taxes was a sin. So Matthew's job was to collect taxes as much as he could wring out of people and then give it to the oppressor, give it to the enemy. So Matthew was a massive outcast, a massive sinner, and a massive enemy to the eyes of the everyday first century Jewish individual. But yet, take a look here. Take a look. You have Jesus right there. Note how Caravaggio does the very, very subtle halo. You have Jesus going into, and that's Peter right there with his back, a little bit of a finger reminiscent of Michelangelo's God, Creation, Ceiling of Sistine Chapel. And you have Jesus going into Matthew's place of work. Now, there are going to be some art scholars, art historians who debate over which one's Matthew. Some think it's this individual pointing to himself, sort of me, but no. For me, it's always been this fella right here. and you can't really see, sorry about the video, you know, he's down on the table there looking at change, looking at coins. So, Jesus meeting Matthew in his everyday life, his place of work. God meets us wherever we are, be it right here or at our place of work or sleeping or wherever. Jesus calling Matthew, and see, Caravaggio gives us the line, going right there, letting our eyes go right there. The moment before Matthew even notices Jesus, calling Matthew, calling him. And here's the thing. All right, we talked about the painting. I love it. I could talk about it forever. But what this painting and what the story in general says is it's Jesus offering grace. Grace. Sorry, I have a cat here. It's bothering me. Jesus offering not just love, but specifically grace. Grace. Now again, Matthew was an enemy. He was an outcast. He was a tax collector. He was a collaborator with the enemy. So culturally, religiously, nationally, Matthew was hated to the point where there were people that wanted to kill him. But no, Jesus goes to him. Jesus goes to him and offers him love, offers him acceptance, offers him a chance at saying, I want to understand you. I want to maybe offer you forgiveness. I want to maybe offer you redemption. I want to maybe offer you a better life, and maybe offer you an opportunity to be what I see in you. That is the best version of yourself, the best potential of yourself. That's what I see. I don't see the worst in you like everybody else does, and like maybe you do, Matthew. I see the best in you. So I want to offer you that. That's the grace I'm offering. But even more than that, or actually even more intimately than that, what we have to remember is the Gospel of Matthew. Whether Matthew himself wrote it, or whether it's attributed to him, Matthew offers the story of this calling, showing how important it is to him. And what he also offers in telling that story isn't just Jesus coming to where he works, but then Jesus going to Matthew's house and hanging out with him for a meal, breaking bread, having some dinner, saying, hey, I see you. I see you. That's grace. And saying, hey, I want to sit down and have a meal with you. That's grace. And saying, I want to listen to you. I want to understand you. I want to hear your point of view, your journey, your experiences. That's grace. And that's what Matthew shares about his experience with Jesus. Everybody else hated me. Everybody else despised me. Down deep in some way, I sort of despised myself. I didn't like this life I was living. I didn't like this job I had. I didn't like that, me as a devout Jewish man was now maybe a collaborator or whatever. But I wasn't happy. And then this guy came along and said, hey, let's sit down. Let's have a meal. Let's chat. Let's get to know each other. Let's do that rather than judge, rather than finger point, rather than blame, rather than label, rather than stick in a box, rather than immediately jump to despising. That was Matthew's experience with Jesus. It was grace. If all the people in Matthew's society had their way, Matthew would continue to be a cultural, religious, and national pariah, outcast, and actually even worse. Many would have wanted him dead. But no, Jesus offers Matthew grace, an opportunity to say, hey man, let's talk. Let's understand. Let me share some of me. You share some of you. We'll have a meal. And hey, guess what? As Matthew also tells us in that gospel, they invited other sinners, other outcasts. So, Jesus offered grace. My friends, I think we need more of that, don't we? Those of you who have listened to my videos, those of you who know me, those of you who have experienced in some part my ministry over the last 20 years, I constantly say love, love. Jesus was all about love. Love God, love neighbor, love self. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love one another as I have loved you. That's what Jesus' ministry was about. But today we're being more specific in a component of love that we so desperately need is grace. We need more grace with one another. Less judgment, more empathy. Less assigning blame, motives, immediate distrust, and more understanding, more willingness, more openness with the other as we see people. Less seeing people as the other, and more seeing people as a person with experiences and pain and all the other things that we have. Slower to react angrily, quicker to forgive. Maybe less willing and immediately jumping to seeing things as slights, as insults, as reasons for us to be angry or upset. And more kindness, more grace towards each other. I think we need more of that, don't we? And while we're at it, on the whole love God, love neighbor, love self, triune triangle of beauty, maybe more grace towards ourselves. You know, the actor Zachary Levi, wow, the irony, the calling of St. Matthew in his Hebrew name would have been known as Levi, and I'm now referencing Zachary Levi, the actor who played Shazam in a movie and Chuck on a TV show, wonderful actor. Sorry, the irony of the two names, the connection, is just coming to me now, and I love it. But Zachary Levi, I saw him on a podcast, and he was talking about his spirituality and how we need more grace. And he touched on the fact that we need more grace towards ourselves, don't we? Less getting tired and run down and not listening to our bodies when we need to care for ourselves, and more stopping and caring for ourselves and resting. More preemptive rest as the norm. Rather than just resting when we're burnt out and fried and beat up, more, no, I'm going to care for myself and offer myself enough grace that says, I will rest and stop and be still and care for myself, heart, mind, body, and soul, as a way of life rather than as a necessity because I've gone past the brink. More preemptive rest as a norm, as an act of grace for ourselves. More proactively caring for our pain, for our trauma, for our everyday struggles. More proactively caring for that as an act of grace towards ourselves. Less judgment upon ourselves for all sorts of things. For our mistakes, for our foibles, for whatever self-imposed or outer imposed judgments upon ourselves. I'm this, I'm that, our insecurities. Less judgment towards that, and more grace, more kindness, more acceptance of ourselves. It's a beautiful thing, that kind of grace that one can offer to oneself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's important not just to love others in a way that leads with grace, but to love ourselves as a way that leads with grace. So loving God, loving neighbor, loving self, grace upon grace upon grace, loving like Jesus did here in Caravaggio's masterpiece. Like Jesus did with that outcast, Matthew, whom everyone else hated, pointed a finger at, despised as an enemy, found worthy of blame and insults, and worse, the hope of harm or even death. Loving like Jesus means pointing a finger out of love and grace, saying, hey, I see you. I want to hear you. I want to sup with you, dine with you. I want to get to know you. I want to understand you. And I want you to understand me. That's loving like Jesus. That's grace. The act of generous goodwill and kindness, and willing to offer love first and foremost, and not seeing people as ugly sweaters, so to speak. Grace. Grace. We need more of that, don't we? Thanks be to God. Amen. So, again, I want to thank you for stopping by the video, for checking things out. And I hope that this video finds you doing well. And if you're not doing well, I hope you're stopping, taking the time to care for yourself, and remember that you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of care, be it outside care, asking for help, or self-care, saying, I need to stop, I need this, I need that. I know what I need, I'm going to do it. Or I need, and I'm going to ask, please love me, please help me. So I hope you're taking the time to care for yourself and to care for one another and offer each other grace, because we are all in this together. We are all in this together. So if you want to take a moment, like, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to share this with anyone that you think needs spiritual fruit and care and nourishment, by all means. Either way, I wish you peace, love, and grace for your journey going forward. Okay? Have a great day. I love you. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one. Ciao.